Body language expert, you analyze people on deception.
I teach people to hear the inaudible and see the invisible.
You wound up in a coma.
And I believe by having breakfast with death, it heightens some things for me. Our words, Brandi, are 7% of our communication, 7%.
Because if 93% of how we communicate is not the words, that means everything is about how we show up.
Everything how we show up. I cannot hear what you are saying because who you are being is getting in the way.
We live in this culture because of Instagram and TikTok and all the things that if you don't look this way, they not looking at me, and you dispel every myth.
Absolutely.
About what that is.
A couple of my girlfriends would say, you go out to the clubs, the men don't want to dance. I've never had that problem. I'm going like, oh my gosh, toss. I can't dance with all of you. You can literally seduce a man without ever touching him. Chocolate after midnight are the 21 nonverbal moves that you can do to have the person of your desire totally into you. But let's get back to the power zones.
No, let's get into these 21 chocolate drops.
Because of you, I'll give you a couple of them.
What is the red flag that most people ignore in dating?
Here's the thing the ladies have to realize.
Welcome to Vaught Empowers Talks, where we don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep into the lives of some of the world's most influential change makers. I'm your host, Brandi Harvey. But before I introduce my guest for today, I need you to go ahead and do me a favor. I need you to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss your daily dose of inspiration and motivation. But without further ado, I'm going to be read like a book today. I get to introduce this phenomenal woman seated across from me. Linda Clemons is a body language expert, trained and certified in analytic interviewing and statement analysis, a process used to detect deception. She is an award-winning, record-setting sales producer, as well as one of the top sales trainers in the world. As the founder of Sisterpreneur Incorporated, Linda provides several methods of corporate training to help you get your business on track for success. Utilizing her multifaceted skills, Linda has generated over $2 billion in sales for her clients in the hospitality, travel, and luxury lifestyle industries. Her client list includes celebrities, executives, politicians, entrepreneurs, and top corporations, including Google, Microsoft, MGM, Major League Baseball, Wells Fargo, Marriott, Hilton, and the Food Network, just to name a few. Linda is a graduate of the FBI Citizens Academy, as well as a lifetime alumni member. Her accolades include the Office Depot Entrepreneur Award, Women of Wealth Top Mentor Award, and recognition for her community work under President Barack Obama. Linda believes whatever is on the mind shows up in the matter. Our actions override everything. Vaught Empowers Talks welcome charismatic speaker, thought leader, body language, and communication expert, Linda Clemons, to the show.
Honey child, I need to take you on the road.
Listen, if they don't say that, Miss Linda, when they sit in that seat, I ain't done my job.
Thank you, Queen. Thank you for having me.
This has been divine in the making.
Absolutely.
I told you before we started, we got introduced before because I heard you on the Mind Valley podcast one day. I put it on my Insta story, and one of my neos sends me a message and says, we just had her at ColorCon. I'll introduce you. I'm like, oh, yeah. She introduces me. I fumble the bag, y'all. I fumble it because I thought I responded to the email and never responded. I said, this is a dream deferred. Guess what? Sherry Riley comes and does the show.
We love Sherry.
It's my super friend. She said, I got somebody perfect for the show. I want to introduce you. She sends me you. And here you are.
In the right season.
At the right time.
Season. Well, I'm excited to be here. I've been watching you for a long time.
I'm so nervous.
As you are on your journey and doing your thing and finding your way, your path, and your purpose, there will be opportunities that are going to come from unexpected places that weren't even on your list.
Yeah.
So get ready for that.
Yeah, I received that.
Get ready for it.
Body language expert, you analyze people on deception.
Absolutely. Let me just go in detail what this is about. When you hear about body language, nonverbal communication, how important that is, it's our first language.
Yeah.
Before we're able to speak a word.
Yeah.
There was a study that was done well over 50 years ago out of UCLA by Dr. Maharabian. on the communication theory. And yeah, you have other experts says, oh, the theory is dated, but they ain't done a study. So it's been over 50 years ago. And here's what he found, that our words, Brandi, are 7% of our communication, 7%. So the question, are the words that are coming out of your mouth, are they powerful or powerless, passionate or passive, poison or potent? Just saying the word cancer is feared in over 12 languages. One of the most revered words outside of our name is mother. So we don't often think about just the words, because once those words come out, it can evoke some kind of reaction. According to the study, 38% of our communication is tonality. Now, everybody that's watching and listening, you heard the saying, it's not what you say, but what?
It's how you say it.
But we're going to do a remix. It's not just what you say or how you say it. It's what they hear.
Yeah.
So if I said to you, Brandi, I saw Steve and Sandy at the mall the other day and they were alone. Just by the words and the tone, you can say, Linda, big deal. People go to the mall all the time. But if I did it like this, Brandi, I saw Steve and Sandy at the mall the other day and they were alone. Same words, but different tone. And that tone can invoke different emotions. Someone out there probably had a mother that said, baby, I don't like that tone you're using.
Yeah.
So the tone is critical. But 55% of our communication is nonverbal. Wow.
55% of our communication is nonverbal.
Over 93% if you add the 38.
Yeah.
Because which is just tone.
We're left with just 7,
Yes. So I've got a quote, and it's by Emerson, so I'm going to clementize it a little bit. I cannot hear what you are saying because who you are being is getting in the way.
I love when you use that when you speak, because I think it's so powerful. Because we think that it's just, and we live in this culture of sound bites and 15-second reels and 30-second and 1 minute. And we're so good at these quick little snack size pieces of information. But really, people are just picking up on our body language all the time.
Absolutely. And, you've heard the saying, action speaks louder than words. And if my late granny was alive, she'd say, baby, I hear you talking, but I don't see you walking. So if those words and the tone and the nonverbal are incongruent, that's the thing, Brandi, that sends a message. And so how many times have someone walked in the room and they were in your presence and you're thinking, I don't, there's something about them,
Yeah.
And you can't put your finger on it. Grandma knew. Grandma would say, baby, I don't like his eyes, or whatever it may be. But there was something. It is the part of your brain, the amygdala, the reptilian, your limbic system that is sending you to alert. Quite often, we overrule it. That's why someone will say, somebody told me not to hire that person. Something told me not to marry or get involved or sign that contract. It's our brain talking to us.
But you said something. You said something that it's something about the micro expressions.
Micro expressions. Oh, that's a term coined by Paul Ekman. And he did a study on the micro expressions. So when you begin to think about something, the moment that you think about it, it shows up in the matter. Mind over matter. So you have to think about it. Micro expressions are those expressions that leak out when you least expect it. You can't control. So I'll say to you, so what do you think about the new director that they hired? You think he or she would be great? And you go, you see that little thing that I just did?
Yeah.
That little smirk that I just did. And he'll be okay. She'll be okay. So it's leakage of those tiny little expressions that someone says, did you see that? Did you see that when you ask, are y'all gonna stay in the marriage? Did you see that when you ask, do you want the job? Those are the micro expressions. But here has been the challenge. We live in a wonderful age of technology. I'm sitting with you here because of technology. We're able to get this message out to your wonderful audience because of technology. High tech will never, ever, Brandi, replace high touch. So we're so busy connected to the tech, and we're missing those micro expressions when one of your team members will come in and says, hey, Brandi, can I talk to you for a moment? You hear it in the tone, but maybe it's the end of the month, or you're working on a deadline. You don't take the time to be able to look over and see the facial expressions like, what's the matter?
Yeah.
And these are the things that we're missing.
Oh, you told this story. I love this in one of your interviews. You talked about how you were brought in after COVID to help with some graduates who had spent their sophomore to senior year in, they were virtual.
Oh, you did your homework, did you?
I did, girl. That's what I do.
You should have a talk show.
I do. But you talked about how you were training, really retraining and teaching these young people interviewing skills because they had spent 2 years in COVID
Away from each other.
and they're constantly in virtual that they don't have the skills. So they're constantly looking down like at their phone or their tablet. And you said that these are some skills that will not be able to be replaced no matter how hard we try.
Well, absolutely. So here's what happens. During COVID, they told us to keep 6 feet away from each other. And people had the mask, by the way, the face persona is mask. It means mask, right? So we're wearing a mask without the mask. So we were disconnected. We were only able to see just the upper part and we kept the distance. They said it takes 30 to 90 to 120 days to change a habit. No, it doesn't. It takes even longer. So can you imagine all of those months, the years that we've got in a habit of not being connected with another human being?
Yeah.
So now these students are studying and learning without having the energy and the presence of their team members, their classmates, and therefore their interview skills, their interpersonal skills, for lack of a word, girl, they were jacked up.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't look into the eye. They were so used to looking down at their devices, communicating that way, that they lost that touch. They looked good on paper, graduating the top of the class. But their interpersonal skills, and especially when they had to do it on Zoom or any other virtual platform. So you can imagine when they were in person.
Yeah.
Wow, they were still disconnected in the same room, but yet disconnected. So we had to rewire that for people to be able to open up. And one way you'll know, the body language closes up, okay? Closes up. We've got power zones. So work with me here. Do the throat area. See that little dip there? That little dip. That neck dimple. It's called the suprasternal notch. Think about a time when you may be feeling uneasy or a little bit uncomfortable and you need to self-soothe yourself. Sometimes women have a tendency to stroke the suprasternal notch. If I'm on a case and I'm interviewing Miss Johnson, and I said, Miss Johnson, where was your son? Where was your daughter on February 15th? If she's protecting her children for whatever reason, she may unconsciously, subconsciously stroke the suprasternal notch. So that's a power zone. Another power zone is the heart. Women who've had their heart broken. I'm done. I'm not going to get another relationship. I'm done. When someone introduces them to someone, ooh, I've got somebody for you. Okay, I'll meet them, but I'm not going to do anything. So here's what takes place. When they meet them and characteristics or emotional triggers will come up that remind them of the previous relationship, guess what they do with their arms?
They fold them.
Why are they folding them?
Because they want to protect their heart.
Right, they're protecting their heart. So they're closing off the door to the heart. Another power zone. The other power zone is the belly button, the navel. Our first connection to another human being through the umbilical cord, that navel connection. Think about when we're having conversations with someone and you're done. So I'm face to face with you. You could be in a group. When you're done, what do? We turn away.
Turn away.
We cut the cord. And then the other area, which is for another show, is the reproductive area. As another power zone. I used to do a workshop for C-suite executives. And these are people that are power people, that they were married to their career and didn't take the time to date. You know how people could focus on their business.
Yeah.
And so they came to this retreat that I did, and it was called Chocolate After Midnight. And Chocolate After Midnight are the 21 nonverbal moves that you can do to have the person of your desire totally into you. But let's get back to the power zones.
No, let's get into these 21 chocolate drops that we need to implement in our life, Miss Linda. You didn't got me all razzled and dazzled. I want to know about the 21 chocolate.
We're gonna give you a couple. But I'll give you, because of you, I'll give you a couple of them, right? But I'm telling you that, so just be aware of the power zones. When we close off a power zone, you have to ask yourself, Why? What is the emotion that I just have attached to this? Why am I feeling this way? What's going on in my career, my life, my relationship? What's going on at work that anytime someone approaches me, I begin to shut down? Those power zones are critical, and the timing as to when it happens is even more important.
I mean, talk about the timiness of when things happen. This was not something that you just kind of fell into.
Right.
You were a radio personality. You have the voice that
Thank
is
you.
absolutely soothing. It gives me quiet storm, you know. But you were a radio personality.
Yes, for
In
15 years.
For 15 years, June of 1996.
Yes.
You went in for a routine surgery.
Yes.
And you wound up in a coma for 7 days.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it was June the 4th, 1996. I just signed off on air. I was a morning drive personality, and I was scheduled for outpatient surgery, something minor. I think it was Mother Teresa that said, the best way to make God laugh is to make plans.
Yeah.
Okay. A personality, I'm going to the hospital thinking, okay, minor type of thing. Don't ever go to the hospital for any kind of procedure without taking somebody with you. Bad girl, Linda, right? And end up getting an overdose of anesthesia. I was in a coma for 7 days, and my heart stopped for 60 seconds. And I think it was something bigger and greater than me, my God, that said, not yet, not yet. You know, when the rest of the world seems to be stepping out, something bigger stepped in. And my church members were having prayer vigils. My listening radio audience was having a prayer vigil for me. They were preparing my family for the worst. And I believe by having breakfast, lunch, or brunch with death, it heightened some things for me. Prior to the coma, Brandi, I had a photographic memory. I could look at a book one time, read the whole thing and memorize it just like that.
Wow.
Didn't have that afterwards. But what God did, he heightened some other areas. So I've always been very, very good in sales, been in sales all my life. Always been intuitive, if you will, and highly empathic.
You were the top candy seller in your elementary school.
Baby, I was the number one candy seller in my school, okay? Are you sure you didn't talk to somebody at the FBI? But but what it did for me, it heightened other areas that I believe that has, with respect to my colleagues and peers that are out there, that has made me the best in what I do. As a nonverbal communications expert with over 4 decades, and I know you probably thought I was in my 30s or something like that.
I did, girl.
Okay, I'll take it. I'll hold on to that. With over 4 decades, it allowed me to be 100% present when I'm in someone's presence. There are great body language experts out there, but Brandi, they don't look like me.
No. You are not the person that I see when they CSI and they bring somebody on the witness stand. They're not bringing people that look like us.
Absolutely.
And for you to have this level of knowledge that has not just served you in sales, right, but it also serves in your relationships. Because many people, you have a course through Mind Valley. Yes. You have a course on dating.
Yes.
Yeah. So you help people use these tools not only in their business to get more money and, you know, grow their corporations, but also how to flourish in their relationship.
Absolutely. And here's the thing about dating. Quite often we are looking for something that we are not.
Ooh, wait a minute. You got to say that again.
Quite often we are looking for something that we are not.
Ooh.
And we're looking for someone to complete us, you know? And that's not what relationships are all about. You have to honor that individual. They honor you.
Yeah.
You have to take the good, the bad, the bitter, the sweet, take it all. But you have to know who you are and whose you are. And you have to understand and know your triggers. So when we look for people and we're seeking things that we are not, then next thing you know, they remind us of our inadequacies. And then we begin to change. I have a good friend, and it was so funny, a group of us, we all went to college together, and she was always getting in the wrong relationships, looking for love in all the wrong places. And she was a fixer, always wanting to fix someone. Now, it could be her mother was a fixer. So she finally got out of this toxic relationship. And everyone was saying in the group, oh, I'm glad. I'm going to use another name to protect the innocent and the guilty, okay? I'm so glad that Sandy is done. So glad that she's done. So everybody's saying she's done. And because she started dating someone else. I said, she's not done. She's not done. So I said, Sandy, how's your new relationship going? Girl, honey, he's the man of my dreams. I am loving him. And I said to her, I said, good. I said, so you don't think about your ex? No, I am. Watch this. She says, I'm done. Okay. This is dismissal, by the way. When you see the hand goes like this is dismissal. And this is what I said to her. What's a good thing? And listen to my tone. My head tilted in the emotional realm. It's a good thing, Sandy, that you moved on. Because Steve has moved on too. She froze. Why would you freeze? She went to the part of the brain called the amygdala, the reptilian part of the brain, where we go the fear, freeze, fight, flight part of the brain. Why would you freeze? Why did you go like this? Honey, good riddance. Whoever, that's their problem now. No, she froze because she was still emotionally connected. And that's how another thing, you can catch people in deception. I had a video that went viral. Who would have thought? You know, I'm at Mind Valley doing a 2-hour presentation, 2 hours. And it was the part, Brandi, during the Q&A, when someone asked just a simple question. And it's one thing about social media. If you don't hear the whole context, then of course you got the controversy.
Absolutely.
So someone asked, can you tell if someone's lying? I told the story prior to that on different things that you can do. But one of the things that in deception and how I answer that question, when someone is being deceptive, one of the things they do not do, they do not practice the gestures.
Was this the open of the hands, showing the palms?
Movement, right. They don't practice that. Who says this? Okay, I'm going to practice this lie. I'm going to get it go. So when I do this part of the lie, I'm going to do my hand like this. I'm going to say, nobody does that. They practice the words only. And normally with someone is being deceptive, now this is the norm, not the exception. You know, we're not talking about if someone is neurodivergent. We're not talking about other issues. We're talking about the norm. So for example, let's say someone out there is dating someone or let's say you're married and every Tuesday, your partner, your spouse, your husband goes bowling. Let's say he goes bowling every Tuesday. But he comes home like it doesn't look like he's been bowling, still fresh as ever. Then one day he comes home and I'm sitting there, right? I'm sitting there at the coffee table and the wife says, oh, how was your game? How was your score? Oh, yeah, the guys and I, we did great. And we had a good time. I said, man, you normally get home all the time this time? He said, absolutely. What time did you leave the bowling alley? And he says, 4:00. How did you get out so quickly when there was like a 5-car pileup outside the bowling alley and traffic was backed up for hours? The person freezes. When you catch someone in a lie or in deception, that they freeze.
They freeze.
So this thing went crazy, went viral, and because there's a couple of techniques that I use when I'm interviewing someone, or there's a technique that I use if I want to get to the truth. So can I share it with you?
Yes, I am all ears. I am so intrigued by this.
Okay. So one of the techniques that I use, so for example, if you're telling me what's going on, says, okay, so tell me your story. Brandi, tell me what happened. And you're telling me the story. If you are being truthful and I know your baseline, so I'm using words here like baseline. Baseline is a person's norm, who they are, without any stress. It's who they are, like, oh, that's just Brandi, that's just Steve, that's just Jada, that's who they are. So if your norm is like, okay, yeah, let me tell you what happened. So if you are being deceptive and you're going like this, so Linda, here's what happened. It was 11 o'clock. And you're looking at me. I said, And this happened, and 2 people walked in the door. And I'm looking at you. You're looking at me because you're trying to see if I'm buying it. That's why I'm feeding you confirmation and validation. So you're rapidly going through the story because you're thinking of it as you go, by the way. Then we get to the end. You're looking at me and I'm looking at you. And I go like this. Thank you. Thank you. When I exhale, what do you think you would do?
I don't know.
You'll exhale too. Why would you exhale?
Relief.
That I bought the story. Gotcha.
Wow.
Because if you're telling the truth, why are you exhaling? Why would you be out of breath? You would be at your door. I'm like, ooh, honey, I couldn't get that story out. Ooh, that wore me out. No. Am I right?
That is so true. But we don't always think about those small little nuances, right? That are in our everyday behavior that either create our baseline or create these roles of deception for us.
But in the words of Keith Sweat, something just ain't right. So So it's telling you something's not right. And that's the thing that allows you to ask additional questions, to peel the onion. So what time was it again that it happened?
Okay.
Now, who all was there?
So in peeling the onion in relationships, what do you think is the first, like we talk about red flags, green flags, yellow flags now, and all the conversations now on social. What is the red flag that most people ignore in dating?
One of the things they ignore is the aggressiveness of the individual. So, for example, if you have someone who is an amiable or could be an introvert or non-confrontational, not saying they're interchangeable. And let's say you're sitting there at the table, and I've seen this happen before. We're all at the table and want someone to have their date with them, and that individual is telling a story. The dominant personality says, yeah, and grabs their hand. Yeah, we hear that story. You see that? So that's the restriction, and does it more than one time. Sometimes we miss those things, not thinking anything of it, when someone cuts you off in your conversation, and they consistently do it. When what's important to you is not important to them, but yet there is something in them that we want in our life so bad. Is it how we look and view ourselves? See, sometimes when we're depleted, we'll grab anyone to fill us up.
So that's a red flag, the most of the aggression.
The aggression.
In the relationship of like if somebody grabs you while you're talking or cuts you off. When we look at business relationships, what's the red flag that people ignore? The same thing?
Well, one of the things is constant deception and not being truthful and authentic in conveying information. So let's just say, okay, you made a bad deal, we lost money. You blame it on everyone else, but you don't take ownership of it. Watch it when, particularly in business, when people don't take ownership when they're in charge, when they're responsible. Well, here's what we did, but you were the leader. You were the one over this.
Yeah.
Well, I just did what we were supposed to do. They never take ownership. And that's one of the signs. So listen, here's what you want to keep in mind. Failure to deny. In other words, did you do it? I don't know why you're asking me this. I know why you keep asking. I know why you keep asking me, Brandi, did I do it? Did you do it? It's either yes or no. So watch for signs in business when you ask, and in relationships, when you ask a direct question and there's failure. They won't deny it. So, for example, there was a case working on where there was a minister of the church and there were some things that was going on with little children. And in the interview, they asked, did you molest? Did you have sex? Did you do anything with a minor? And this is what he said. My God, I'm a man of the cloth. That ain't what I ask you.
Oh.
So that's deflection. So outright failure to deny. The second thing in relationships and in business is congruency. And what I mean by that, when the words and the tone and the nonverbal are incongruent, if all three don't agree, then there's a disconnect in the message between you and me. So let me ask you this. So what do you think about, do you like being in this relationship with this new guy that you're with, Linda? Yeah, it's good.
Oh, yeah.
See, okay. So why did I close the door?
Yeah.
As opposed to, oh my gosh, door open, I'm leaning in. So it's incongruent. It's just like, do you want to go here? Oh yes, that'd be a good place to go. You see that?
And you shaking your head. Right. I love how you gave an example in one of your interviews, and you said when people when they're asked a question about maybe a boss or somebody on their team, and they're in the meeting and they
do that again. Okay, and everybody out there watching, do that. It's called lip compression. Watch for the lip lock, watch for the lip compression. Have you ever been in a meeting, ever been in a situation, or in anything when someone says something, or they get on your last reserve nerve, and you're wanting to say something in the meeting, and you go like, It's another way of biting the tongue, withholding information. So when you see that, then you've got to say, hey, Kevin, I want to get your input. You know, Steve, Susan, want to get your input. Looks like you've got something that you want to add, because they unconsciously do that lip compression.
Let me tell you how I use this. I saw this. This was, I seen your videos because I follow your stuff. I'm like all into it. And when you did that, my sister and my mother were talking. I'm telling personal business, personal story, Ms. Linda. We were in Cleveland, and my sister was talking to my mother. You know, mothers and daughters.
Right,
you know
right.
how that can go, you know, because, you know, the kids become the parents at these big ages. And my sister was talking to my mother, and my mother was sitting on the couch, and my mother did this. And I instantly was like, I'm looking at it happen. I'm like, ooh. And I was like, well, Mom, I think you have something that, there's obviously something that you need to say in this moment. And she was like, oh, no, I don't. Oh, no, you know. But she had done the lip compression thing. And I was like, OMG. I literally saw her stopping herself from talking.
You're 100% right. Because she caught herself. Now, I'm not going to say it. But too bad. But the lip, caught the lip.
I caught the lip. I caught the lip. And I think that that's the part that I think if so many people, we walk around unaware.
Yes, yes.
Because we refuse to like really open our eyes and see the signs.
You're 100%
because if 93% of how we communicate is not the words, that means everything is about how we show up.
Everything, how we show up.
And you talk about that, how you make people feel.
Let me tell you something. What did Mama, you know Mama had something to say, right?
Yo, she did. Now, eventually she did say it.
She did, because it was in.
Because it was
rising. Temperature rising. It was rising. Mama was holding back. She tried to put a lock on it. And by the way, people have put a lock on it like this. You all have seen this before, where they'll go like this. Okay? And here's the lock. See the hand go up?
Yes.
And then when it gets so intense, you'll see people, their body will start to lock up. You'll see them cross their legs. By the way, over 90% of us cross our legs at the ankle when we go to the dentist. So you'll see all this starting to lock up, and they'll go like this. And some people may even, particularly women, men don't do it as often, they'll begin to rock with it because they're trying to hold it back in.
That's exactly what happened, Miss Linda. She started rocking.
Mama didn't rock.
Mama rocked.
Mama rocked.
She rocked. She said, I thought she was about to take off on my sister, but she didn't. You know, she didn't. But I think that these are skills that each and every one of us need to have in our arsenal.
Absolutely.
In order to be successful.
Yes. You know, when you master nonverbal communication, it will take your interpersonal skills in your EQ up to the next level. I got a contract because of the mastery of nonverbal cues. So I was up for this contract to do sales training for a large corporation. And all of my other competitors were big name companies. And they had massive teams. It was just little old me. And so the question was, why would I select you versus XYZ? And I said to the decision maker, will you send in 3 of your executives? Send them in, someone I've not met. Sends in 3 of the executives. They're standing along the line, and I went down the row and revealed something about each one of them. You could see the blood leave their face, only something they would know and that Mama would know about each one of them based on the way they were standing, based on how they were breathing, based on how they reacted to the other questions that I was asking, based on how they responded to the other questions of the other people. And what I do, and I said to him, I said, here's what I do. I teach people to hear the inaudible and see the invisible. Where do you want me to send the contract?
Oh! You better flex on her, Miss Linda. What? I love that. You are like the person that people bring in to get the job done.
And for jury duty, and help executives and CEOs with the silent language of leaders.
You said even with jury duty, you said that all the witnesses should be clear. It should be clear. It should be transparent.
Absolutely.
We should be able to see the full body of the person on the witness stand.
Absolutely. Because when half of that body language is gone, half of the language is gone. So if someone said, so did you on this day, did you hear, were you in the presence? And if they're lying, because you know people do the poker face. We've got the 43 facial muscles. We use about 34, 40 of them to be able, 43 facial muscles, 37 of them to use different expressions. But you can get into a mindset where you have that poker face. But guess what? Deception, farther away from the brain, starts to reveal. That's why when somebody gets nervous, the leg will jump.
Yeah.
When something gets to happen, they'll cross. So if I'm asking you a question and I can't see the lower half of the body, what happens when you cross the ankle? What happens? Come on, Brandi. What happens? Both hands, raise your hands. Put your hands on your thighs and you start thigh cleansing.
Yeah.
What you thigh cleansing for? Because chemicals are being released from the hands.
Yeah.
You're trying to self-soothe yourself, pacifier. All these questions are getting hot. So you're missing these things. And then you're missing when they lock their ankles around the chair because they're trying to hold back of the information and the pressure. We're missing all that. Needless to say, they don't want me to serve on juries.
OMG, Miss Linda. Here's what I loved about you, and this is one of the things that you said in one of your interviews. You said that people who are clinically depressed do not raise their hands.
Like you don't raise their hands in the air, like they just don't, because it changes the mood. So when you're out speaking and you want to motivate people, you raise the hands above the waist, where the heart, it raises the energy. When the hand's down, so does the tone go down. So can you imagine for those that are leaders out there and you're trying to motivate a team, you walk in that room and you say, okay, team, we can do it. What? We can do what? Hands down, what we going to do? We can do this. You ask a kid, you want to go see Mickey? Yay.
Yes, yeah.
You know, you say to someone, you say to your whole team, you're getting a raise. Whoa. Some may be shocked, right? The hands go up, right? When the hands go up. So people who are clinically depressed, it changes the mood.
When I heard you say that, I was literally like growing up in church. When they say, when the praises go up, the blessings come down, right? I want you to put your hands in the air, you know, all the things. And you said to be clinically depressed, you won't raise your hands because it changes the mood. And what happens when we're in church and they say, put your hands up and you worship, what happens? The mood.
The mood
I was
changes.
like, yo, that is so
Atmosphere
good.
changes.
Yeah.
And so sometimes people are so stuck. They've been down so long, they don't know what it feels like to get up. And they stay there. And they know that if I do this, that's what you say, come on, get out of the house. Come on, just get off that drab color. Put another outfit on. Because it changes the mood and they don't want to change the mood.
I love that. That was so good. That was when I was like, wow. When you visualize and you're like, that's a real thing.
Yeah, when we think about it.
Yeah.
And the people that you know, you'll say, why is such and such always so down? Why is this person? You never see anything elevated.
You did an exercise on the Mind Valley stage, and you were talking about dancing. This was so funny. And you was like, if you want to know when you are attracted to somebody, look at the way they dance.
Look at the way they dance.
Yes.
Yeah. So listen, you got some nice looking
Miss
jokes.
Linda, let me tell you, Miss Linda, we going out. We gotta go get us a drink. We gotta go get. I gotta go out with you.
We
Miss
gotta
Linda.
go out. Let me listen. Okay. Okay, so listen, I gotta tell a story, but you're so good. I love you, Brandi. So a couple of my girlfriends would say, yeah, this body language stuff, you know, you go out to the clubs, the men don't want to dance with you, everybody sitting, and I'll say, I've never had that problem. I've never had that problem, darling. Oh, yeah, this body. I said, well, no, just what club? What club? So check this out. So we go to the club. Now, this is how my girls are sitting. Watch. They sitting like this in the club.
Yeah.
Now, what brother gonna ask somebody to dance with this body language says, I'm not coming out and you definitely not coming in? Who gonna ask somebody to, locked up like this? And I said, okay. So what I did was I got seat ready, S-E-A-T. Sitting on the seat, I sat at the edge of the seat. Okay, they was playing some of my little music, that, you know, old school, little Frankie Beverly, you know,
Okay.
Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm sitting at the edge of my seat. And single ladies, take note. Married ladies, take note. The same thing it takes to get them, same thing it takes to keep them. Take note. So I'm sitting at the edge of my seat, music playing. Now they sitting locked up.
Hold on, because let me participate.
Okay, you got to participate. You got to participate.
I want to participate,
okay, so sitting at the edge of the seat. So the music, we know how to chair dance, right? So when the music was coming, okay, now when you're doing it like this, right? You're doing it. But right now it's just me having my own party. Now act like you're going fishing. throw it out there, throw it out there, and bring it on in. Bring it on in. Now throw it out there. Throw it out there. So guess what the signal it sends with your power zone open?
I'm ready.
Girl, 4 or 5 brothers came over here. Just, oh my gosh. And I'm going like, oh my gosh, toss, toss. I can't dance with all of you. There's only 24 hours. I can't. My friends, they have no one.
Oh, Miss Linda, you done gave me so much life today.
Every time, I'm telling you. See, you knew how to do it naturally.
Yeah.
But who's going to come to somebody and be rejected?
Yeah. Since we're on this idea,
we gotta go out, man.
We're going out. How long you in town?
Girl, I fly out tonight.
Okay,
girl.
Okay.
But ain't but a flight back, babe.
Okay, we'll figure it out. Okay, the thing about dating, and I think so often we live in this culture because of Instagram and TikTok and all the things that if you don't look this way,
right.
They not looking at me and they not trying to check for me and they only want light-skinned women and they only want skinny women and they want to, you dispel every myth.
Absolutely.
About what that is.
Absolutely. See, here's the thing. When you are in a false package, so people could go out on the corner and buy a fake. People spend the time and the investment for an original. And it's not just who you are at the moment. It's who you make them feel like when they in your presence.
Yeah.
One of the things that I tell men and women all the time, that when someone comes in your presence, they should feel transformed when they leave it. Who would not want to come back? So I spend more time listening. If I'm on a date, I like to listen and I like to do a little information confirmation so I can say, what I heard you saying, Michael B., is this. What I hear you saying is this, so that they're felt like they're being heard.
Yeah.
Quite often we don't do that. Everybody's just out, it's me, as opposed, what can I do to add value in your life? And when I am in a situation when I'm dating, it could be a tornado. It could be stuff going on in the restaurant or in the club. That individual is the most important person at that time.
Yeah.
Because we're living in a world, people don't have time for anything. You've got drive through this, drive through that, drive through love, drive through funerals, drive through everything. All kinds of stuff. We don't have the time anymore. So to take that time is very critical. And here's the thing the ladies have to realize. First thing you need to do is to make love to a man's mind first. If a man is your desire, it's the mind. Because when beauty fades, when beauty fades, ugly behavior stays forever until you're ready to change it.
Yeah.
So when you make that person feel in a certain way and you give the attributes and you add value to their life, who would not want that?
Yeah.
From a sincere, authentic place. See, I'm not attached to gifts. I'm not attached to material things. I'm attached to the giver. So that's what's important for me. So when I know that, I say in abundance. And when you're in abundance and you're in prosperity and when you're in a faith, that kind of thing with the foundation being obedience, then there's an inner fire and an inner glow that radiates.
Yeah.
See, I'm a money magnet. I'm a love magnet.
Yes. Oh, I love it. I am too, Miss Linda. I believe that. I do but I wasn't always this way.
Right.
I wasn't always this way.
You know why? Let me tell you why. First of all, the people that are in your life, they've earned the right to be there. You're discerning that you just don't bring any and everyone in.
Yeah.
And there's other reasons is trust. It's trust. If our trust has been breached before, sometimes it takes a while. When you love, Miss Brandi, you love deep.
Yeah.
But when you hurt even deeper.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. So what happens then, you'll have an invisible shield around you and not realize it. Because I tell you, honey, because you could cuss someone out and not break face.
Not one time.
And not break face. But you know that when you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. And then your word going into 2025, going into the next 5 years, is forgiveness and release.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yes.
Your
Kool-Aid. You got in mine.
I did.
You all up in my Kool-Aid. I'm getting your Kool-Aid. Because I give you my sister.
But it's so true
Right.
because so my word for this year has been overflow. And I think God has done exceedingly abundantly above all
Yes.
that I could have even asked or imagined. I mean, this Q4 that I'm walking into, I'm just like, listen, Q3
You ain't seen nothing yet.
You ain't seen nothing. But I said a word each year. And so I really do feel there was a conversation I had maybe like a month ago that solidifies why forgiveness and release is so on the horizon.
Yes.
Yeah, and so necessary.
Because you don't forget.
I don't.
No.
And I will say one of my favorite books that I read during COVID was Radical Forgiveness. Because I was really in that place of in COVID, like I'm gonna have to let some stuff go in order to get what God really has for me. Because it was so much stuff that I was still holding on to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so much stuff.
Yeah. So if you would just set up straight for me, do like this. I'm just sit back. And then I want you to think of the challenges and think of whatever, a hater that try to eliminate you. Because see, sometimes our haters try to eliminate us, but they ain't really the eliminators. They're actually the elevators because it gives us the energy, right? So if you're setting up, I want you to go, like say, just sit back. Just sit back. So a setup. So you're setting up. So when you're setting up, that's the time that you're going to move forward. You know what your commitment is. You know what you're going to release. You know what you're going to forgive. So while we're sitting back, just think about, sit back again. You know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with that. I'm going to bless and release that. So while I'm setting back, so my setback is going to allow me to set up for my comeback.
Come on with a word, Miss Linda. Dun, 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 dun.
We going to the club. After the word.
I knew you was gonna be my favorite of the day. I just knew it. I knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so real. I think that those are, even when we think about those small the setback.
Yeah.
When you set back and look and you analyze and you say, well, I'm gonna let that go.
Absolutely.
That's gone. I don't need to deal with that anymore.
And you notice when we set back, Brandi, we done.
Yeah.
Think about when somebody says, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
What do?
Yeah.
And if you're totally done and you're going to leave it there, you getting up and walking away from it.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some nonverbal movements that we should really be cognizant of in our everyday life and communication?
So number one, try to keep, when you want to appear to be open and you want someone to be transparent with you, make sure that you are open, not just in your words. That goes like this. So tell me tell me what's going on. I'm here for you. You see, it's inconsistent. So be open. When you are open and you're interested in something, we have a tendency to lean towards things that we're interested in.
Yeah.
We have a curiosity about things that we like and we are intrigued. See, I'm excited about the opportunity with you. Look what I've been sitting. I've been sitting in this chair, leaning in, but we lean away from things that we're not. So imagine if you are doing that when someone's coming to you, trying to connect with you, and your power zones are closed off, they'll take it personal. Maybe he or she doesn't like me. So openness, okay?
Yeah.
Eye contact. In the United States, eye contact is acceptable in business anywhere from 65 to 85% of the time. It's acceptable even in our social interactions. We think that when people don't look at us in the eye, oh, they're shifty. Well, but if we were in Japan or other cultures, direct eye contact is deemed disrespectful. But eye contact is important in your body language to validate. I see you.
Yeah.
I see you. Okay. Now, you don't want to stare somebody down because there you've got, you could lock a gaze if you want to date and make a connection if you're in the social realm and you see someone that you like. But eye contact is very critical. We talk with our eyes. For those that go all the way back, we send Morse code with our eyes.
Yeah.
Women can talk with their eyes. A good-looking brother can walk in the room in the midst of the other brothers in the room. Another woman could go like this.
Girl.
That's in the code, and the poor brother don't even know what's happening sitting beside you. Because we can do that.
Yeah.
So the eyes, and our parents had that look when you know you've done something wrong. They have that look. So the eyes are important to give that validation. And even more important is the tone in which you deliver something. A lot of the brothers that I talk to says, man, I need to take you home. I said, okay, a little kinky, a little kinky. No, I need to take you home to my wife and to my daughters because you know how to talk to men, because your tone. I remember when I dated they'll say, I remember when I first dated my wife, her tone was so loving. Then when we got married, the tone changed. They became like little razor blades. And sometimes we can be so upset and have the anger and it comes across real sharp.
Yeah.
So be wary of the tone, which is critical.
I love, you said open, eye, lean, and beam.
So when I'm connecting with someone and they're coming in the room, I'm open. My power zones are open. I'm giving them eye contact. I'm leaning in like I'm interested in you. I'm curious about you. I'm intrigued. And the beam is the internal fire. Then when someone says, I don't know what it is about you, Brandi, there's a light.
Yeah.
That's that fire.
Yeah. Oh, God, I could talk to you all day. Oh, girl, you my new friend. Listen, this my new homegirl, y'all. Y'all don't even know. You said before you leave out of here, and this goes into the tone, and I really want you to delve into that. Think before you launch. Begin with the end in mind.
Right. So before I get in this relationship, before I go into this meeting, before I talk to this employee, before I talk to my mom, my dad, how do I want the conversation to end? How do I want all parties to feel at the end? When you begin to think about that, now if I say it this way, I know John's gonna go off because he doesn't like my tone. If I say it this way, so when you begin to play the scenario in your mind and begin, like Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. I want everyone to leave, it's a win-win. Then you begin to act up on that. But when you just go in for yourself, then it's all about you.
Yeah.
And people will lock down. You look at it right now in a political race. You can tell from language, from body language, who is for people, who is against people, simply from their language. And on the tone of the voice. I'm going to give you one little tip here. Marilyn Monroe would use what we call the wet voice. Linguists call the wet voice. And so if you're dating someone, and you want them to know that you are interested in them and you're attracted. So where did you get that suit? Hear the voice? It's the wet voice. And that wet voice could be very seductive. And women, they can learn. You can literally seduce a man without ever touching him. Mm-hmm. You know.
I'll be telling my business on this show, you know what I'm saying? Miss Linda, but you know the girl, she kind of cold with it. But go ahead, I'm listening.
And see, and just in the tone, if somebody was standing on a ledge about to jump, you're not gonna say, don't jump. It's the tone. You've got something to live for. So the tone is so critical as well as the words. Every actor in Hollywood is waiting for the script with the right words. But what helps them win the Academy Award is the tone and the body language in which they deliver that script.
That is so good. Give us some more tips on tone, because we have a lot of women who are listening to us right now. And our demo is 25 to 54.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So to the power ladies in the making and the power ladies who you are right now.
Yeah.
When you are using the tone and you're wanting to be serious, you are the leader. And I say, okay, team, it's the end of the month and we have to meet our sales goals. You notice that when I do that tone, that neutral, serious, lower register tone, my head is level. It's called level head. Now watch. Come on, team. We've got to meet our goals at the end of the month. We want to win. Okay, look at that tone. If I tilt the head, come on, team. We want to win. It changes the tone.
Yeah.
And with the head tilted, the team doesn't believe you're serious. That's why if you're trying to discipline a kid and says, look, mommy's serious, don't do that again. They know with the tone and the head movement, mommy's serious, don't do that again. You won't go out to play. They won't believe it because it's inconsistent. So the tone is critical in that area. The other area regarding the tone is how you're feeling. If you are angry, you are bitter, it will come across in your tone. Anger, bitter, jealousy, hate, fear begins to corrode the container in which it's in. And that container could be you. So if you are having those feelings, your tone and the body begins to harden. your gestures, your movement begins to harden. So your tone is so critical. And to the young ladies out there listening, if you lack confidence, you'll go into the office or you do your negotiation and you go like this. Watch this. So I want you to say to me, Brandi, so Linda, do you think you could do the job?
So Linda, do you think you can do the job?
I think I can. Do you believe it?
No.
Why? I said the words, I think I can. Okay, say it again.
Your eyes look surprised.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm questioning
Yeah.
my ability.
Yeah.
When the eyebrows go up, it's called an eyebrow flash.
Wow.
And so when you see the eyebrow flash, wow, you're surprised.
Yeah.
You know, you could be questioning something. You could be intrigued. It's the timing of the eyebrow flash. So when someone goes, I think I can. Are you, okay, can you not? What? Can you do this? As opposed of walking right into it. Absolutely, I can.
Yeah. So the confidence is key.
Confidence is key. Confidence, commitment, and courage. I always think of the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And courage.
Yeah.
And courage.
Yeah. Miss Linda, I have enjoyed you so much. As we begin to close out this interview, what is one word you're committed to in this season of your life?
In the season of my life, and what has been benefiting me the most is obedience.
Ooh.
Obedience. You know, I had a pastor say to me, he says, you look like you obedient because I get joy being obedient to his word and allowing him to order my steps. You know, after, I'm going to tell you, 31,546,000 seconds in a year, with only that minute when my heart stopped, my life was in it. And so obedience is so critical because that way I can hear his voice. I know his voice, I know the word. And when I hear that, and everything works for me. And you know, if it's for me, it's for me. And if it's not, it's not. You look at my hands. Look at my hands.
Yeah.
See my hands going up? If it's for me, but if I did this, if it's for me, it's for me. Really? Okay. The hands go up. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm being honest. I'm being transparent. And by the way, studies have shown when someone is being deceptive, they cannot expose the palms for a long period of time.
Unless they're a sociopath, right?
Unless they're sociopath or psychopath.
It's a couple
'Cause they
y'all out
believe
here.
it.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, so you can't expose your palms.
Right, because
for too
because
long.
if they're honest, I didn't do it. If you accuse, okay, look, who took my iPad? Did you take it? I didn't do it. Who goes like this? What iPad? Right. So when they expose the palm, the brain is saying, okay, my job is to send the movement and the gestures to match the truth. The neocortex, the amygdala, I'm trying to send the truth here, and you're trying to override it. Oh, come on now.
I'm trying to send the truth, but
I'm saying, but you trying to override it, boo.
Override it.
You trying to override it, boo.
Oh, that's a whole word for somebody
word.
right there.
You're overriding it, boo.
You trying to override the truth.
And that's why we says, oh, I did that. So you see when people like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, what's wrong? Why you? Well, Granny would say, what's wrong? Why you so jumpy? What's going on? Are you back with Pookie again? What's going on? No.
Ooh, it's so many things that we could.
so
I feel like
much.
you're giving us tools though. We can look at any show. We can take this in any setting.
First homework for your audience.
Yes.
To take your favorite movie that you've seen 2 or 3 times, get some popcorn, and watch that movie with the sound off. Just watch them. You're going to see things that you've never seen before. You say, I can't believe it. How did I miss that? Because now you have to take away the sound, and all you have to concentrate on is the visual. And it is critical. You will see certain gestures and movements. Look at people that way. Be observant. You know, go to the courtroom, by the way. I used to take my master's students to the courtroom, to the mall, to just people watch.
Yeah.
Remember that song, Somebody's Watching You?
Yeah.
Tell your audience, I'm watching you.
I mean, me and my sister do it all the time.
Yes.
We just go people watching.
Yes.
We sit, grab our coffee, and we watch people. We come with whole stories about people's lives.
So imagine, so the women out there, so imagine this. Okay, I'm going to pretend I got a phone here, right? I'm going to pretend I got a phone here. So imagine me being a man, and so I'm going to ask you, tell me what I'm doing if I'm talking to the office, if I'm talking to my wife, or if I'm talking to the mistress. Who am I talking to?
Talking to the wife.
Okay, talking to the wife. Okay,
Talking to the office.
right.
Talking to the mistress. Damn.
Say what?
Got him.
Go to the head of the class.
You
Brandi.
know I'm at
You
the...
go to the head of the class, girl.
Baby, I ain't going to be nowhere else but the head of the class. Listen, Miss Linda, I have enjoyed you so much. You were top five. You just did it. Listen, you top five. Our good friend, Dr. Sherry Riley, she's up there.
Love you.
Yeah.
I want to send a shout out to my little hairdresser that did my hair, Christy Herndon, the day on Sunday, so I can look cute for you.
Amen. Come on, Christy. Thank you so much for getting our girl together to get on the show. Miss Linda, thank you so much for joining me. It's some tools that we all need to be able to navigate through this world of deception. And Miss Linda Clemons, well, you done taught us the truth today. So thank you so much. Be sure to share this with somebody who you know needs to walk in truth in their life. Okay? Listen, that's a good one for you. I'm your girl, Brandi Harvey. Until next time, eat well, give a damn, move your body every single day. Peace.